My ex mocked my pathetic life. So I told her husband she slept with me before their wedding. Hi. So I'm 30M now, and my ex-wife, Emily, is 29F. She recently married her boyfriend of about 4 years, Mark, 34M. They've been married for around a year at this point. Emily and I were married years ago, and honestly, that marriage only lasted about a year. We got married straight out of college, literally right after graduation. It was small, low-key, nothing fancy. At the time, it just felt like the next step. We'd been together since high school, sophomore year to be exact. Same college too. We basically grew up together, so marriage felt inevitable. But just because something feels inevitable doesn't mean it's a good idea. Turns out it wasn't. We fought constantly, like damn near every single day. About a year into the marriage, I hit my limit and realized I couldn't do it anymore. I wanted out. I hadn't stopped loving her, not really, but I was exhausted from the nonstop fighting. And Emily is extremely proud. When I told her I wanted a divorce, she didn't beg, didn't argue, didn't try to fix anything. She just said, if you want to go, then go. So we divorced. Looking back, we were both immature as hell and nowhere near ready for marriage. It's a huge commitment, and we jumped into it way too young. We both had a lot of growing up to do, and staying together at that stage would have probably destroyed us even more. Then, during the divorce process, she found out she was pregnant. That changed everything. I honestly thought once the divorce was final, we'd never really talk again. But a baby makes that impossible. She wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be a dad. That part was never in question. She wanted to stop the divorce, go to counseling, fight for the marriage. I didn't. I was done. I felt awful about it, but my mind was made up. I suggested shared custody, co-parenting, even living close to each other early on since the baby would obviously need his mom more at first. She hated that idea. All she wanted was to stay married. That period was brutal. Constant arguments, tension nonstop. But eventually, we reached an agreement. We'd split custody and try to keep things civil for our kid. The truth is, I didn't get married because I was ready. I got married because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. She'd been talking about marriage since our second year of college. I wasn't emotionally there, but I didn't want to lose her. I knew if I said I wasn't ready, we'd either break up or fight endlessly. So I went along with it. Big mistake. After a year of marriage, it became painfully clear that this life wasn't for me. I wanted to figure out who I was, build something on my own. And once I found out we were having a kid, that feeling got even stronger. Staying in an unhappy marriage and dragging a child into that mess didn't feel right. Yeah, having divorced parents from a young age comes with challenges. I get that. But growing up in a household full of resentment and constant fights is worse. That was my thinking. Emily believed staying married would have been better for our son. We'll probably never agree on that. Either way, the divorce went through, and we stayed in contact for our kid. That's still how things work. Our son splits time between us. Half the month with her, half with me. We both show up for him as best we can. We're not friends. She still carries a lot of anger toward me, and honestly, I get why. I care about her deeply, but I knew she'd never truly be happy with me because my heart just wasn't in that marriage. I loved her. I just wanted a different life. That's on me. I own that. After the divorce, I stayed involved. I went with her to appointments. I was there when our son was born. I stayed a few days afterward to help make sure she was okay. I did everything a good dad should do. Still, she told people I abandoned her. Painted me like some heartless monster who walked out when she needed me most. Most of my friends stopped talking to me because of that. I never confronted her about it. I figured I deserved some of it for marrying her when I wasn't ready. That was my fuck up. If I had fought back, it would have just made her story look true. So I kept my mouth shut and focused on being a father. What messed with my head was that despite trashing me behind my back, she was always nice to my face. Sometimes it honestly felt like she still wanted to get back together. She'd act like she couldn't live without me, like she still loved me. It was confusing as hell. On one hand, she was destroying my reputation. On the other, she was warm, familiar, almost affectionate. I didn't know what to make of it, so I buried myself in work. Once our son was a few months old and she went back to work too, we started seeing each other less. And that's when things really started to change. About a year after the divorce, Emily started seeing other guys. I didn't hear it from her directly at first. A couple of friends who hadn't completely ditched me mentioned she was dating again. I won't pretend it didn't sting. It did. Even though I was the one who filed for divorce and pushed it through, I still loved her. That part never magically shut off. But I kept my mouth shut. I wanted her to be happy, and I'd already made my choice. So even if I felt like shit, I sucked it up and dealt with it. To be fair, we were both young and emotionally clueless back then. That explains a lot. Still, she made a very public show out of dating. Hosting, talking, hinting, making damn sure everyone knew she was out there. After a few months, she noticed I hadn't reacted at all. No comments. No jealousy. No awkward questions. So one day, she brought it up herself, told me she was seeing other people and said she was sorry if it hurt me, but she wanted me to hear it from her instead of through the grapevine. I told her I was fine with it, and I could tell she didn't like that answer. She looked disappointed, like she'd expected more, questions, emotion, something. Instead, I picked up my son and left. That was it. Looking back, it really felt like she wanted me to chase the conversation. Ask if she'd moved on. Show that I cared. Things between us were always hot and cold, confusing as hell. That part never changed. After that talk, she suddenly stopped making such a big deal about her dating life online. No more loud signals. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it had everything to do with me not reacting. Then one evening, she came by my apartment to pick up our son. It started pouring rain, so I invited her in to wait it out. Just basic courtesy. At that point, it had been close to 2 years since the divorce, so I figured it was safe. We talked. Our son was asleep in the other room. One conversation turned into another. We started reminiscing about the past, stupid memories, old jokes, the what-ifs. And then, out of nowhere, she leaned in. I still loved her. That never stopped. So yeah, we slept together. She stayed the night. And for a few hours, it felt right. Familiar. Comfortable. Like slipping back into something you never fully let go of. Then I woke up the next morning, and she was gone. Nobody act fast. No would-be. She'd taken our son and left before I even opened my eyes. Later that day, she messaged me saying it had been a mistake and that she didn't want to get back together. That wrecked me. Completely. But it was her choice. And I respected it. I told myself it was a one-time thing. Blame the rain. The nostalgia. Loneliness. Being young, divorced, and a single parent in a dating world that doesn't exactly line up to welcome you. I didn't make it a bigger deal than it already was. We went back to being civil co-parents. Nothing more. After that, I pulled back hard. I only talked to her about her son. No personal stuff. No friendly chats. No emotional openings. She tried a few times to get things back to normal, but I shut it down every time. Then she started dating Mark. I knew who he was, solid guy, older brother of someone we both went to school with. I wasn't worried about him. If anything, I was relieved. I knew he'd treat her well. Once they got serious, our interactions dropped even more. And honestly, that was fine. She had someone. I was trying to move on and focus on my life and career. Over the next few years, we barely interacted outside of kid-related logistics. Whenever I picked up or dropped off my son, Mark was always polite, respectful, no tensión. At that point, everything felt settled, or so I thought. And that's why I feel especially shitty about what I did to Mark just weeks before his wedding. You can probably already see where this is going. I'm not proud of it. Honestly, it's one of the worst things I've ever done. But yeah, I slept with Emily one last time before she got married. I don't know if she had cold feet or just completely lost her damn mind, but she showed up at my apartment late one night, a couple of weeks before the wedding. I think there was maybe a month left until the big day. I absolutely did not expect to see her, especially since we'd agreed to only talk if it was about our son. And that night, our son was with her. So yeah, I was confused as hell. It was late. I was curious. I opened the door. She practically collapsed into my arms. She was crying, shaking, telling me she missed me and that she'd made a huge mistake. Then she dropped the bomb. She admitted that everything she'd been doing over the past few years, the hot and cold behavior, the mixed signals, the mind games, all of it was her trying to get me back. She said she'd never really moved on. She knew we wanted different things and that we weren't compatible long term. And even if we got back together, it would probably end the same way it did before. But she was scared, confused, and spiraling. Suddenly, everything clicked. I told her the truth too, that I hadn't moved on either, that I was just as fucked up and confused about my feelings as she was. We kissed. One thing led to another. And yeah, we slept together. Almost immediately after, the guilt hit me like a truck. It still does. But part of me honestly believed that this time, she'd finally call off the wedding and choose me. She didn't. She woke up the next morning crying again, and this time I was the one comforting her. She told me she loved Mark, that she was just terrified things wouldn't work out again. Hearing that destroyed me. Knowing she loved him and had basically used me as an emotional safety net hurt like hell. She begged me to keep a secret, said she didn't want to ruin her relationship. Hooking up with me, apparently, made her realize she really did love him, because if she didn't, she wouldn't have felt guilty. She asked me to lie. To everyone. Forever. And I hated that. I didn't want to be the guy she kept on standby. I also didn't want to blow up a relationship just to get absolutely nothing out of it. So I agreed. I said I wouldn't tell anyone. She left. She married him. And that was that. I won't lie, I was crushed. I genuinely convinced myself she'd come back eventually. I'm at a point in my life now where I am ready to get remarried, and I never stopped loving her. But once she married Mark, that door pretty much slammed shut. And after what happened a few days ago, it feels permanently locked. No amount of love is going to change the fact that she's not a good person. I've known that for a while. It just took me a long time to finally accept it. I kept hoping she'd change. She won't. Maybe I'm a piece of shit too. I won't deny that. But at least I don't go out of my way to mess with people's emotions and hurt them for fun. She does. And honestly, I think she enjoys it. Yeah, I played along. I own that. But she always initiates this shit. She knows exactly how I feel about her, and it's on her not to exploit that. Anyway, a couple of days ago, she invited me to our son's birthday party. I decided to go. Normally, whichever parent our son is staying with throws him a birthday celebration, and then the other parent does their own thing later. The kid's spoiled like that, 2 birthdays every year. Lucky little bastard. But this year, Emily decided we should do just one party. She said he's getting older, and that 2 celebrations were too much. Fine. I agreed to split the cost and show up for him. I got there straight from work, which meant I was late. Most of the guests were already there. The second I walked in, I could tell something was off. Her energy was weird as hell. Tense. Passive-aggressive. And she didn't even wait a full minute before she started taking shots at me. First joke. How I'm late to my own kid's birthday party, and how that's what happens when you put work above everything else. Real subtle. That was obviously a dig at our divorce. Same old bullshit narrative where I'm the guy who chose work over family. Then she went for my receding hairline, which honestly caught me off guard. Not because it's some huge insecurity, but because we're grown-ass adults, not kindergarten kids pulling dumb insults. There are 100 things I could say about her looks if I wanted to be petty. I didn't. Then Mark jumped in. He laughed and said it was probably all the stress I put myself under. Then they both started giving me unsolicited life advice, telling me I should take time off, actually live a little, because clearly I wasn't doing great and had made some pretty terrible life choices. I should have shut it down right there. Instead, like an idiot, I asked them to explain. Big mistake. They went on this whole rant about how I'd fucked up my life. How my first divorce was a bad choice, because look at me now, still single. How prioritizing work was even worse, because now I'm late to my own kid's birthday and apparently miss out on family moments. What they conveniently ignored was the fact that I actually have to work. I didn't come from money. Nobody's paying my bills for me. I had to build my own life from scratch. I didn't say a word. I just stood there, stunned that Emily was saying this shit out loud, and even more stunned that Mark was backing her up like a loyal little cheerleader. That was the exact moment I stopped feeling guilty about what happened a couple of months earlier. After they finished tearing me apart and wandered off to entertain the other guests, I grabbed the gift I'd brought and wrote a short note on the card. I was pissed, but I wasn't about to blow things up in front of my son. I didn't write much. Just this: I still know your secret, and I know you don't want anyone else finding out. Watch your words around me. Then I left. Didn't make a scene. Didn't say goodbye. My son was busy having fun with his friends, which is exactly how it should be. I wasn't missed. The next morning around 9 a.m., Emily called me crying. She'd obviously read the note. She apologized for what she said and claimed she was just upset because I was late. Apparently, our son had asked about me multiple times, and they'd even cut the cake without me. She said it like that justified everything. I told her the truth. I'd left work on time. Traffic was a nightmare. I wasn't choosing work over my kid, and I sure as hell didn't deserve to be publicly humiliated over it. After everything we've been through, her pulling that shit was unacceptable. She started begging me not to bring it up again, not to say anything, to just let it go. But something clicked for me that night. I realized I was screwing up my life, not for the reasons they said, but because I kept giving Emily chances, over and over again, hoping she'd finally stop being who she is. I didn't promise her anything on that call. I told her I was busy and I'd talk to her later. Now I'm seriously considering telling Mark the truth. I can't keep carrying this shit around. It's eating at me. So here I am, asking, would I be the asshole if I told my ex-wife's husband the truth about her? Update 1. It's been a week since the birthday party, and I've been completely no contact with Emily. And yeah, I did it. I sent Mark a message and told him the truth, that Emily cheated on him before the wedding. I won't lie, it helped. A lot more than I expected. It felt like a massive weight was lifted off my chest, like I could finally breathe again. Along with the message, I sent proof, screenshots and timestamps showing she was at my place that night, about a month before their wedding. After that, I blocked both of them. I know I'll eventually have to see Emily when I go pick up my son in a couple of weeks, but for now, I don't have to hear her voice or deal with her bullshit. I also told everyone I know to keep her name out of conversations with me. I did what I had to do, and I'm not letting anyone guilt trip me over it. I said my piece. I spoke my truth. I'm done with that chapter, and I don't want updates about how she's doing. I'm sure whatever she's dealing with now doesn't even come close to what Mark and I went through because of her indecisiveness. Honestly, We don't even share many friends anymore. I fully expect her people to eventually show up and try to make me feel like shit for this. So far, nothing's happened. I sent that message 4 days ago, and I haven't received any threats or angry texts yet. That tells me they probably haven't told many people. But I know it's coming, and I'm ready for it. I'm not backing down. Update 2. Just like I expected, the news is out. They're getting divorced. It's been about 2 weeks since I messaged Mark. I haven't heard a word from him, which honestly makes sense. What do you even say to the guy your wife cheated with? Emily, on the other hand, sent her flying monkeys. I've been getting texts from her friends and family saying I ruined her marriage, calling me a sociopath, accusing me of doing this because I wanted her all to myself. Which is bullshit. I didn't do this to win her back. I did it because I was done carrying the guilt. Was it her fault? Yeah, but it was my mistake too, and I own that. I need to be better. I want to be a good father, and before that, I need to be a decent human being. The only person I truly feel bad for in all of this is Mark. He's a good guy. He didn't deserve any of this. At least now he knows the truth and can walk away and find someone who won't play games with his life. I'm glad he's getting a divorce. He deserves better. Maybe I don't. I dubbed my own grave the day I married Emily when I wasn't ready. We're both fucked up people in our own ways, and maybe we brought this shit on ourselves. Update 3. It's been almost a month since they announced the divorce. Last week, I went to Emily's place to pick up my son. She didn't even come to the door. My kid told me everything. Apparently, Emily has been a mess ever since she and Mark had that massive fight. Her mom now comes over every single day to take care of the house, cook, and make sure things don't completely fall apart. Emily stopped going to work. She spends most of the day sleeping in her room. My son is confused as hell. Nobody has explained anything to him. He keeps asking me why Uncle Mark left and why his mom is always sad and angry. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to tell him. That part hurts. As a father, it's brutal to watch your kid caught in the middle of adult bullshit. I feel a little guilty, but I still know I did the right thing. Her friends and family are still texting me, still trying to paint me as the villain. I honestly don't care anymore. Update 4. Hey guys, I know it's been almost a year since I last updated. Emily has been officially divorced for a few months now. She's in therapy and moved out to the suburbs, about 4 hours away from me. We used to live close for our son's sake. Not anymore. She said she needed distance from everything, especially from me. A few days after the divorce process started, she told me she still loves me deep down. She also admitted she has a lot of issues to work through and that we're not good for each other right now. She said if we're meant to end up together, life will figure it out. But for now, we need to stay apart. She's probably right. We changed our custody arrangement. Our son stays with me during the week and spends weekends with her. I still love her. I won't pretend I don't, but I hope she gets better. And I hope I do too. I'm in therapy now, trying to unpack all of this shit and actually grow from it. Maybe one day we'll both be better people. Maybe we'll be happy someday, together or separately. Either way, I'm going to try to get there.